It was the early 1980s, and one of our many family cars was a banana yellow Plymouth Arrow. It was a funky little car the size, a little bit bigger than a Prius. And in this car would have to squeeze my family of 6. My single mother would be driving, oldest brother to her side, and in the back, probably with no seatbelts, the 4 youngest of us. And I was the baby girl, the only girl. So I'm sitting there as we sit in LA traffic, heading off to one of my aunt's house for a party. And there's a sweaty leg here and a sweaty leg here. And these boys loved to tease their little sister. So after one too many elbows, one too many man-spreading, somebody probably farted on me. And I'd had, 4 boys. I'd had enough. And so I screamed, "Stop it! Get off me! Leave me alone!" Without even taking her eyes off the road, a hand reaches back and finds my thigh. And there's pinch. And my mom had a pinch that felt like it could break skin. And so I began to cry. Now I'm angry. Now I'm irritated. And now I'm hurt. And unfortunately for me, we had just reached my aunt's house. My tears were not welcome here. My pain was not welcome here. What had just happened was a secret. And so there I am with my tears, my hurt, and my pain. Okay, I'm ready. And I walk into the house, and I kiss everyone hello, and I'm off to play with my cousins as if nothing had ever happened. Now, in this trick, this mask that I used, it didn't just hide a pinch. It hid violence, child abuse that was happening in silence and secrecy. Now, there's something really important we need to talk about when we talk about any abuse. There's a saying, hurt people hurt people. And I know now that my mother was hurt when she was a child, and her parents were hurt when they were children, and on for generations. You see, this was our family legacy that had been passed down. And despite all of that, something else was happening for me as a child. You see, I loved to dream. I used to read all the time. I loved the library. I would read books like Ramona the Brave and Sweet Valley High. And when I would read these books, I was studying. I was trying to figure out, how do other families live? And when I would go to a friend's house for dinner, I was like a little researcher. It's like, what happens at the dinner table? What do parents do with their kids? How do siblings interact? And I remember I made a promise one day. After a particularly rough afternoon, I laid on my bed and there were tears falling onto my journal. And I made a promise to my future babies. I will never hurt you. I will be kind. I will be loving. I will keep you safe. So I spent the next 30 years trying to create this dream that I had envisioned as a child. And by the age of 40, most people would think I had achieved it. I had it all. I'd gone off to college, married a wonderful man, we started a business, we got a puppy, a house, 2 kids, the cars, the vacations, all of it. I was an important member of our community. I was the PTA president. I volunteered in the classroom. I drove on field trips. And do you know at Christmas time, when you get your Christmas cards in the mail, and there's the one on the heavy cardstock, do you know we paid extra for? And the kids are in matching outfits, and a professional photographer took them in a beautiful park. That was our family. We looked beautiful from the outside. But on the inside was a woman who was so lonely and disconnected. I was lonely in my marriage. I was lonely with my very best friends. And my body never could relax. You see, I had spent 40 years in fight or flight. There was cortisol running through my body every day. I was blessed, though. I was blessed with what some people call a strong-willed child. Those of you who are laughing have one. Strong-willed children don't fit into this Christmas card. They just don't. They have something else planned. So this little boy enters my life, and there's no timeout, there's no punishment, there's no reward, there's no consequences, there's no reward chart that will get him to obey the way I want him to. None of it works. So there I am one day in his bedroom, trying to get him dressed to go off to some soccer music lesson he surely doesn't want to go to. And I've been begging, and I've been yelling, and I've been threatening, and I have done everything I can, and he does not want to get dressed. And he is actually trying to get away from me, such that he is now climbing his closet shelves to get away from me. Yeah. And I had nothing left. Remember that body, always in fight or flight. And I turned and I smacked him. And there was like a pause of silence before he screamed. And he turned and he looked at me. And in his eyes, I saw fear. I saw sadness. But more importantly, I saw him completely disconnect from our love. And I also saw me as a little girl looking at my mother after I'd been hit. Later that night, as I cried, still shooken up from this event, I remembered the promise that I had made. I will never hurt you. I will keep you safe. And I realized that I had been spending all this time to create this outer world, but had completely forgotten the truth of those dreams and those promises. I hadn't been dreaming about the cars. I hadn't been dreaming about the vacations. I had been dreaming and imagining how we were going to feel in our family. And so there I went back to my trusty library, and I hit the books. There's got to be another answer. I read every parenting blog, every book, listened to every podcast on respectful parenting and conscious parenting and peaceful parenting. And I tried these tricks out, but over and over I'd get stuck. And then it hit me. This is about me. You see, they kept saying these things like, if you want to have a respectful child, you have to be respectful to them. If you want to have a calm child, you have to be calm with them. I couldn't do that. And so I began to heal myself and calm my own nervous system. But I didn't do it alone. I did it with them. We sat at the dinner table, and I sat them down, and I said, kids, I yell too much. I don't want to do that anymore. So I need you to call me out when I do it. I need you to tell me. And we made a little project. We made these shaky jars. They have like glue glitter in them. And the trick was they're supposed to be our calm down jars. Now, I was supposed to be handing them to my children to calm down. I can't count how many times I was in the closet rocking back and forth when my children brought me the calm down jar. Here, Mommy. Now, I don't need to tell you all the ways that I got to be standing here on this stage talking to you about this. So that's not the important part. But I do want to tell you what my life looks like now. So now, I can stand here and breathe all the way into my stomach. Now my marriage is the kind of marriage we hope one day our children will have in their own lives. And now my friends are the kind of people I can call up and say, I just need to cry for 15 minutes. Will you listen? So I share these stories in the hopes of something bigger than my story. I had 2 new dreams recently. One, a couple of years ago, it's almost more like a vision. I had this vision of standing on a stage like this, a room full of women like you, and you rose up. But in that vision, I didn't know yet what you were rising up for. Tuesday, I had a beautiful hour with Amalia. It was giving me some body work and energy healing. And I didn't know how to close this speech for a while. And I was just leaving it open. And as I laid there, after this healing, I had a vision. It came to me. I saw a world where every child was nourished in their physical body, their emotional body, their spiritual body. And there were little thoughts like, that's not, no, you can't, that's ridiculous. And each time the vision would get stronger. Yes, it's true. You see, we cannot create a world we cannot see. We can't solve problems without solutions that are bigger than the problem. Right? We have to dream. Nobody showed me how to do what I did. I dreamt it and it brought it to life. So we have to do the same for our world. I see that world one day where every child is safe in their body, in their homes, in their community. And I want to ask you, each and every one of you, to join me in holding that vision, because I can't hold it alone. I need you to believe that it's possible. I need you to believe that it's possible for you and for every child and every generation that comes forward. May we be the generation of women that changes the legacy of humanity forever.